Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedrunning video, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. So in today's video, I'm going to be building in the world of Sulani, which is the world that we got from the expansion pack of Sims 4 Island Living, and I'm going to be building a Mediterranean island home. So this house ends up having 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, and it's built on a 30 by 30 lot. Now for this lot, you can either use it as a typical residential, you know, your Sims can live here full time, but if you wanted to, I was thinking it might be quite ideal if your Sims wanted to use this as a vacation home, or maybe like a rental, and maybe they've just rented it out for the weekend or something. The way that I approached this build in terms of decorations, I didn't want to go over the top with a cluster lot. I didn't want it to be really personalised with loads of little different bits and bobs here and there that are personalised to a particular Sim or a particular family. I tried to decorate it to be Mediterranean modern-esque, if you get what I mean. I use a lot of different pieces to make like custom furniture in this house that ends up being like custom kitchen counters and like a custom fireplace, and the way that I approach the interior style is just, yeah, Mediterranean modern, if you get my drift. But the way that this build actually came about was inspired by a comment that one of you guys left me on my build last week. Someone commented saying that they like my builds, which, first of all, thank you so much, but then they also said, have I ever thought about building in the world of Sulani? Which I have done a fair amount of builds in this world so far, but it made me realise, like this comment made me realise, hang on, I haven't built in the world of Sulani in like literally a year and a half. What am I doing? Why haven't I built here? And so it kind of just inspired me to, yeah, open up my game and start building something in this world. And yeah, this is exactly how it turned out. And so I hope you guys like it. But anyway, getting on from that and talking a little bit more about the build itself. So as you can see, the majority of the structure has already come together. I'm just coming in now and placing down 2 little upper porch bits either side of the villa. This one on the left hand side, this ends up being some sort of like enclosed outdoor shower area. I just thought it'd be a nice idea if your Sims are maybe swimming in the ocean, they're all like salty watery, if you know what I mean, and instead of like just going straight inside of the villa, they could, yeah, just kind of like shower and get all the water off. But the other porch on the right hand side, to be honest with you, it's actually got no rhyme or reason. I purely just did it because I felt like it looked right and I felt like it just leveled the build out. Your Sims can go over there and they can go up the stairs, they can go through a door, and then they can just go back inside of the house. It's got no rhyme or reason, but it just, to me, it made sense and it kind of like balanced out this house. But you can see that I'm now coming in and I'm doing the floor plan for this build. Now, something that I wanted to mention, which you might already be able to tell, I decided to give myself a headache and build this house so it's got round walls. Now, we've had round walls in the game since I believe it was the high school years expansion pack patch. They kind of like added it into the base game, and I have done a fair amount of builds that have included round walls like here and there, but for the most part it's been like a nice little section, you know, in the corner. It's got a little bit of like a rounded tower or something, and it's lovely. I have not sat down and built a house that has a good chunk of it to be rounded walls, and oh my, they're a nightmare. They're very fiddly. They're very, to be honest, annoying to work with, to be completely honest with you. They're actually a bit of a faff, but I feel like the end result and the payoff for it is, yeah, it's completely worth it. Now, when I was building this house, I was looking at a picture that I found on Pinterest. I will find the picture for you and I'll pop it on the screen right now so you can have a little look. Initially, when I found this picture, I was debating whether I should do the rounded wall portion and just make it so, you know, sometimes when you're building and you can build a wall and you could put it on a diagonal, and then if you put loads of diagonal walls together and you squint your eyes, it kind of looks like a circular little section. I was debating doing that, but then I thought, well, it's not going to look the same, it's not going to have the same payoff. And also with Mediterranean houses in general, I feel like it's very common to have rounded sections, and so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to build with the rounded walls. But yeah, like I said, it was a headache, but I'm really happy with the way this build came together, the way it turned out. I'm so obsessed with the way it looked, especially like the back portion when we end up having this bougainvillea, because going back to the picture, if you was to look at it, there seems to be some sort of like red, I think it's bougainvillea anyway. Sorry if that's incorrect, I'm not really clued up on flower knowledge, but it looks to be some sort of like bougainvillea going up the wall and then over the roof. It looks so beautiful. And then there's also some really long bench, which we don't have anything like that in the game, but I end up actually making it look like we do by merging in 2 different picnic tables together and making it look like a similar sort of bench. It's really pretty, and yeah, I'm just really happy with this build. But you can see currently I'm just coming in and just figuring out where the windows and the doors are going to be. I actually use a lot of stuff from the For Rent pack within this build. You see the windows that are on like the curved towery portion, they're kind of like open at the bottom. They're from the For Rent EP. They just work so perfectly in a build in the world of Sulani. They do also come in, I think, 2 or potentially 3 other wall heights, but I just used them in the smallest one because I felt like it was the nicest one, to be honest with you. They look the cutest on the little rounded wall section. But you can see over here, I've also placed down some windows that we got from the Island Living expansion pack. They're kind of like open slats of windows, but you can see that I've done this little trick, which I basically sized down 2 doors together and then made it so you can't really see them, and then either side place the Island Living windows to make it look like it's meant to be a door, but the doors have just been left open. Now, I mean, you can do this and not have to size down any doors, but basically the reason why I sized down them doors initially is you see where I've placed down them windows and they kind of like rotate to make it look like they're meant to be open. Above that, I placed down these debug planks of wood to make it look like some sort of door frame. I didn't then want the door frame to then be met with the floor above. I wanted there to be basically a little bit of wall. And the way that you can kind of do this is, yeah, placing down a door or an archway. I would recommend an archway because then your Sims don't actually have to open it. But yeah, placing down an archway, sizing it down, you then basically get the outline of where that would be. So it's the empty space within the wall, but then you still got a little bit of wall above it. I really hope you follow along with me, but I don't know how else to explain it. But the reason why I sized it down is because basically I wanted there to be a little bit of wallpaper above where I placed down them debug wooden planks. And then, yeah, you can see then I just placed down some bougainvillea, basically climbing up the wall, and eventually I'm going to place it down onto the little roof area as well. For the roof, that little section, I placed down these Desert Luxe kit, I think they're meant to be awnings, but I basically placed them down and then I deleted the ceiling. So then when your Sims are actually in gameplay and they're sitting in that little room, if they was to look up, that is the ceiling. It looks really cool. It's really beautiful. But if you are wondering, the picnic benches that I placed down in that kind of like little open door area, they're still fully usable. Like your Sims can still sit on every single one of them little seats. And if you're curious, them picnic benches are from the Journey to Batuu game pack. Who would have thought that I would be using stuff from the Star Wars pack in a Sulani island build? But they're just perfect for the kind of like look and the effect that I wanted to go for. Like I said, I wanted to try and match the picnic bench that was in that original picture, and yeah, I found that merging 2 together kind of gave off a similar effect. But yeah, it's fully usable. Like your Sims can sit at every single seat. I did size down the door enough so if you wanted to, you could eventually delete the door. I made it so it's so small that you won't be able to notice it unless you like really zoom in. I could have made it smaller, but I basically just wanted to give you the option for if you did maybe one day want to delete that little open portion and maybe you want to replace it with another door, or maybe if you're someone that plays with CC and you've got like a CC door that you'd rather use. I made the doors that I sized down small enough so yeah, in gameplay you can't see it, but if you really zoom in, it's like the size of your Sim's toenail. Like it is there. You just kind of gotta look for it. But I also end up using some windows that we got from the Jungle Adventure game pack. They're the ones over here by like this little enclosed shower unit, which I'm just about to build. I say enclosed. It's basically just a wall. And there is a ceiling, so your Sims, if it's raining, they can come inside of here and, I was about to say not get wet, but it's a shower room, isn't it? Like you're literally coming in here to wash yourself. But your Sims are in this little like enclosed bit, and if they want to, they can just have a shower before they get into the ocean or before they get into the swimming pool or something. On this house, by the way, there ends up being like 3 different watery areas. Now let me explain myself because that sounds a bit gibberish. There ends up being a swimming pool on the upstairs portion, which you can just about see in the right hand corner, and then there is also an open ocean swimming pool. Where I'm building on one of the waterfront lots in the world, you can't technically have it so you have a swimming pool on the ground level. There is a bit of a workaround where you can like play around with putting it on the second floor and then pulling the foundation down and stuff, but I didn't want to do that for this build. I just thought, do you know what, I'm going to do it so there's some sort of like ocean swimming pool, then that way your Sims can either go in the ocean but they're still in the lot, they can go upstairs and they can go into the swimming pool, or there is a third option which I end up placing down a hot tub. It's not really like a water feature, but you know, it's somewhere where your Sims can go of an evening if they want to. They can go over to the little hot tub area, get into the hot tub, relax, maybe have a glass of wine or something. I also end up placing down a massage chair next to it, so if your Sims want to, they can maybe come on vacation here and hire a massage therapist to come, you know, give them a little massage or something. But you can see that I'm just basically coming in and finishing up this little enclosed shower area that ends up being 2 showers, some flowers, Also some like little seating ottoman things. Now I will say, and I feel like I should mention this anyway, but I have playtested this house to the whole entire thing, like every single seat, every single sun lounger. I've got my sim to make sure that it is usable, and I only ran into 2 problems when it came around to playtesting. One of them was that little ottoman inside the little shower area, and the second one ends up being another ottoman space, but it's on the upstairs portion where like the curved bit is. Now basically, I end up placing down these little ottomans quite close to them windows from the forefront EP, and for some reason, even though it wasn't in her way, my sim, she was waving her hands up in the air saying that she couldn't sit down. She could, there was enough space, but if you want to, you might have to budge them over if you actually want your sims to be able to sit down on them ottomans. I was just using them as kind of like decorations, but other than that, everything else in this house is completely usable. Everything else works. Your sims can, go in that little ocean swimming pool. Your sims can also lay on every single sun lounger. That little like picnic bench thing that I made is completely usable. It's all fully play tested, and so yeah, in case you're wondering, it all works and you shouldn't run into any problems. But currently over here, as you can see, I'm just coming in and doing a bit of landscaping. Now, where I'm building on a foundation, I didn't really know how I was going to do with landscaping because it's pretty much just wood. Like the whole foundation I made so it was like a wooden colour, and so I decided to go for this kind of like gravelly texture. It kind of looks like sand to me, and then I end up placing down loads of different trees and bushes and ferns, some that we got in the world of Sulani, so they kind of like blend in with the natural environment. I then also end up placing down some rocks in there as well, and also actually something that I forgot to mention, on the inside, I don't know if you would have seen it, when I was doing the floor plan, dead centre in the middle of the house, there's a big cube. In that cube, I made it so 3 of the walls have windows so your sims can look straight through. Your sims, by the way, they literally walk in through the front door, they can look through this little cube, see the windows, and then basically see out into the ocean front. But I made it so there is windows going around 3 of the 4 walls, and then on the inside I placed down some more bushes, some ferns, some rocks. I also placed down some live edit Island Living statues that I think they're actually in the ocean. Do you know what? I don't actually recall where I've ever seen them, but they're on the live edit menu from the Island Living expansion pack. It looks very modern Mediterranean, and so I thought I'd use it. And so, yeah, there ends up being some sort of like little enclosed landscaped area on the inside of this build. And then on one of the sections, I basically had it so the custom fireplace that I end up making is kind of like built into it. Looks really cool. You'll see it as well. I end up placing down like some platforms, and it all just meshes well, like really, really nicely together. But you can see currently over here, I'm just coming in and crushing up these little picnic tables. I placed down some bowls, some sort of like little candles and stuff. But on the inside of it, I wanted there to be somewhere where your sims, if they want to, they could have a barbecue, they could have some sort of roast, but then also somewhere where if they want to, they can make themselves a nice little beverage. And so there is also a bar in here as well. Both the bar and then also the barbecue are from the Desert Luxe kit. And also, by the way, them hanging lights that I use in this room, they are also from the Desert Luxe kit. I end up using quite a lot of the Desert Luxe kit in this build, but I feel like it's because it is that more modern Mediterranean style. If you are curious, I mostly use the Desert Luxe kit, the Forerun expansion pack, the Island Living expansion pack, and then the Jungle Adventure game pack in this build. There's obviously other packs I use like here and there, and like always, I'll have every single pack that I've used in this build put in the description box down below. For every single video, I list every single pack that I use, the lot size, how much it's going to be, and for this one where I'm thinking you might want to do it as a rental, I'll also include the price of the house if you want to buy it to, live in it, but then also the rental price if your sims wanting to come and vacation here for a weekend. But you can see that I'm just coming in over here and just playing about, just figuring out what I'm actually going to have on this little upper porch bit. Like I said, there is actually no rhyme or reason to that right hand side porch area. It's just because to me it kind of like balanced out the lot. It just made it feel like it was a little bit more structured that way. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but it just looked better to me. And so I ended up placing down some plants up there, and then also another awning that we got from the Desert Luxe kit. But currently on the upstairs level, as you can see, I ended up placing down some more sun loungers, also ended up placing down a little fire pit area, as well as some armchairs. I also ended up placing down some more ottomans on this like upper porch, upper balcony bit, but the ones that I use on this level, they're from the Horse Ranch expansion pack, which I would have never expected to use the Horse Ranch EP in a Sulani build, but they go really nicely. Like, they just kind of match this modern Mediterranean kind of style. I think it's because they're quite rustic, and I feel like a lot of Mediterranean interior styles tend to decorate to purposely look a little bit rustic and a little bit worn, which is a style that I actually really do enjoy building in. I need to build in it some more, but I use some little ottomans from the Horse Ranch EP, but the ones that I placed upstairs, just kind of like by them 4 rent windows. Yeah, for some reason my sim, when I was trying to get her to sit down on them, she was waving her arms up in the air saying that she couldn't sit down. The windows aren't even behind the ottoman and she was still having an issue. I don't know what's going on with her, but either way, they're the only things in the build. The 2 ottomans, both in the shower area and then also on the upstairs area, they don't work because apparently the game registers them to be too close to the window. But then saying that, how was I able to size down an archway and my Sims can still sit in the picnic table? Like, it doesn't make any sense. This game, honestly, it actually doesn't make any sense sometimes. But either way, as you can see over here, I'm just coming in and basically just landscaping the front portion of the build. I end up placing down some more of this bougainvillea and then also some clusters of grass. I found these little rocks, which the ones in kind of like a semicircle motion, they are from, again, the Horse Ranch expansion pack. I like the look of having loads of different like pebbles. I feel like to me that's quite Mediterranean. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it kind of it goes with this style of build. I then also placed down a really big rock purposely to cover up the foundation, because where that side of the house does have the curved wall, the game makes it so difficult. You can't blend in the foundation to blend into the curved wall. Say, for example, normally you build on a waterfront lot like this, you build a square and you place down like a little platform in front of it or like a little foundation, and you can get it so all the lines match up. It's all very nice and even. But with rounded rooms, you can't do that, and it just makes it so awkward. And so basically, at one point, I had this little like weird cube on one side of the lot, and I just didn't like the look of it. And so I thought I just need to find something to basically cover it up, so then it's disguised. And yeah, I just plopped down a really big rock to basically hide the end of the foundation. But you can see that I'm just coming in and placing down like a little armchair by the entrance, a little letterbox. The letterbox that I've used is from the Snow Escape expansion pack, and I feel like nowadays I use that more than any other mailbox in the game. I do really wish that one day we'll get like a base game version of it, or maybe just have it included in a different pack, because to me personally, I feel like I use that letterbox more than any other letterbox we have in the game, because I'm British. We don't have mailboxes at the end of our drive. People will nick our stuff. Like, we can't do that. We've got to have a letterbox by our front door, and stuff has got to go inside of our door. And so, to me, it's so much more realistic to have your letterbox by your front door, and so I find myself using it all the time. But I'm thinking, if you're someone that maybe doesn't have the Snow Escape EP, yeah, it might be really nice if we got a base game version of it or something. But either way, besides the point, as you can see, I have now moved on into the inside of the house. I started off by placing down this fluffy rug that we got from the Book Nook kit. I then also placed down this debug lip balm lid. I'm not joking, that's literally what it's called in the game. It's meant to be the balm for the lip balm when you're when your Sims are like sitting at the makeup vanity, if you've got the makeup station from the Vintage Glamour Stuff pack. Basically, from that DLC, your Sims will apply like different eyeshadow and blush and lip balm and stuff. When your Sims apply the lip balm, there's a little cap that comes off. I basically got that, rotated it 180 degrees and sized it up to make it look like a plant pot. I have done this before, but I'm doing it again because I really like the look of it. I then also placed down a regular plant pot that your Sims will be able to do gardening in on the inside of it, just so it's got some sort of soil. And then I placed down some sort of like hay looking grass in it. I then placed down quite a fancy ceiling light. I always place that ceiling light down if I'm trying to make something feel a little bit more fancier, but it's from the 4 Rent expansion pack. It looks like a fish. We're on a waterfront lot in the world of Sulani. There's fish everywhere. I thought, might as well place that down. It kind of makes sense. And so, yeah, I placed down that ceiling light. And then, as you would have seen, on the inside of that little, like, cubed bit, I placed down some different ferns, some different, like, grass clumps. I sized down a few different trees to make them look like bushes, and then placed down some rocks in there. And then also this... It's meant to be like a statue of someone sitting down. I don't think I've ever seen this in the world of Sulani, but I believe it's meant to be in the ocean. I'm only saying that because if you actually look at it, it looks like it's seen a better day. It's got all moss on it. It looks like it's a little bit cracked, a little bit worn, but I feel like it was the perfect, almost like centerpiece for this house. And yeah, like I said, when your Sims are walking through the front door, they can see right through them windows, through the other windows on the other wall, and then they can literally see outside into the ocean. It's really pretty. But either way, moving on, as you can see, I've moved over and I've started building this custom fireplace. So I have built a few different custom fireplaces before in the past, but This time round, I used similar objects, but just did it a different way, like a different method. So basically what I did is I made a platform either on 2 or 3 clicks. I think it is 2 clicks high, but I basically made some sort of like little platform area. Next to it, I made like a lower platformed bit, which you can see I placed down some sort of like baskets, some logs of wood. That's optional. You don't actually have to do that. I just thought it looked nice. But I placed down this little platform on, a little bit of a higher level. I then found these spa day, I don't know what they're meant to be, and I've never understood where I'm meant to use them in a spa, but they're these really big wall pieces. They're from the Spa Day game pack. You can find them in, I think, the sculptures category, and when you initially put them out, they're massive, they're huge. I basically sized them down to be, I think, 0.30% of the scale. I then raised them up so the top of this wall thing would kind of like meet with the ceiling, and then underneath it I had like a nice little area. I then placed down a side table, which the one that I've used is from a City Living expansion pack, but I merged it in just enough so you actually can't see the rest of the side table. You can only just see the bit that pokes out that the flames would come out of. And then on top of it, I placed down this TV. It looks like a painting. It's not. It's actually a TV. In gameplay, your Sims can sit down and watch telly, but that is from the Modern Lux kit. I then also placed down this wall light, which is from Seasons. I also used this in that little like cubed landscape area, but I thought it might look really nice as some sort of like mantelpiece for this fireplace, and so I plopped that down on its bit. I then placed down a little pan and then some sort of little oil lamp, and it's somewhat of a custom fireplace. Your Sims won't be able to actively light this fireplace because, like I said, the bit underneath is actually just a side table that we've got from the City Living expansion pack, but in gameplay, and you'll see it in the screenshots as well, there's flames that come out of it. It's basically a fireplace, but I feel like the plus side of this method, of this custom fireplace, is when your Sims have the fireplace on, they're not going to get really hot. I'm thinking we're in Sulani. It's hot here, like heat waves consistently every single day. There is heat waves. Your Sims are probably not going to want to have a fireplace in their house because they'll just get too hot in temperature. But with the side table having the flames, but then not actually giving off any heat, you kind of get the best of both worlds because you have the look of a fireplace, and I think it looks quite nice, but your Sims won't basically die due to overheating. But anyway, as you can see in front of it, I placed down 2 sofas that we got from the Desert Lux kit. I then also placed down some matching armchairs, and you would have seen for the longest time I could not decide for the life of me what side table or like what coffee table that I wanted to use in the centre of it. I was debating between 3, and you would have seen I kept on pulling them out and then putting them in the centre, zooming out, seeing what it looked like, and then changing it to be a different coffee table. I just went for a bit of a faff with just the coffee table, which sounds silly, but I didn't want to have like a perfectly rectangular one. I wanted to have one that had a little bit of shape. One of the ones that I was debating between was another one from the City Living expansion pack, but it's a different coffee table to the one that I tried to make look like some sort of fireplace. It just has some sort of like curved detail to it. I also debated one from the Island Living expansion pack. That was the big round coffee table. I tried sizing one down and then sizing a smaller one down and putting it inside of it, thinking that might work, which to be fair I did like that, but it looked like there wasn't enough space, like there wasn't enough room so your Sims could walk all the way around the coffee table. In the end, I just ended up going for the one that we got from the For Rent expansion pack. It's the one that I use in the lounge room, but I just had a bit of a faff. You would have seen I placed them out, and then where I couldn't decide, I just went to a different area in the room, and I just started placing down plants in the corners and just a little side table, and then I revisited it. But anyway, besides the point, as you can see, I've now moved over into the kitchen space. You might be noticing as well, by the way, this whole downstairs portion where the kitchen is, where the lounge is, and also what ends up being somewhat of a dining room, is pretty much all in one room. It goes round in a bit of a U shape. Just in the middle, we have like that glassed in plant area. Currently, you can see I'm trying to make somewhat of like a custom kitchen counter, because basically for this kitchen I knew that I wanted to use either the Island Living kitchen counters, which were the white and cream ones that you saw me pull out, the ones that we got from the Horse Ranch EP, or the ones that we got from the For Rent expansion pack. Now I do really like the ones that we got from the For Rent expansion pack, but for this particular build, in the colour swatch that I wanted to use them in, I wasn't a massive fan of like the kitchen counter cabinet doors. There was some like orangey wood colour, which I don't actually mind that kind of orangey wood from the For Rent EP. We have some certain DLCs like the Dream Home Decorator game pack where we've got this orangey wood and it's just a little bit too much for me, but the ones that we got from the For Rent expansion pack, I actually quite like the orangey wood. But for this build, it wasn't the vibe. It just wasn't it. And so I thought, I'm gonna place them down and see if I can find something to cover it up. And yeah, that is exactly what I did. So what I did is I found these wall signs. We got them from the Dine Out game pack. They're meant to be like unsigned signs, so you can like place down your own signs onto them, kind of like make your own custom, whether it be a restaurant sign or a retail sign or something. But I basically found them in the catalogue. I sized them down quite small and then rotated them 90 degrees and then basically just plopped them into the cabinet doors. Works charm, still usable. The sign itself does come in a brown swatch, but I decided to use it in this creamy colour just because I thought it was a really nice contrast, and then as well actually it matches with the rest of the house, because the rest of the house so far it's very cream, it's very beige, because we've got like the cream rug by the entrance hallway. We end up having the sofas which are cream, the fireplace, the stone around it is some sort of like cream stone kind of colour, so it kind of matches. But yeah, if you wanted to, you could definitely do this trick, but then just use the wall signs in the brown swatch, and then it looks like them kitchen counters are just all one colour. But either way, as well as that, as you would have seen, I also end up placing down a dining room table coming out of the kitchen counters. For the dining room table and also the chairs, it's a matching set that we got from the Snowy Escape expansion pack. And then actually, I placed down this plant on top of the table. It's meant to be really big. We got it from the Dine Out game pack, but I sized it down and tried to use it as like the table centerpiece. I don't think I've ever used that plant before, but it was kind of perfect for this house. And so yeah, I decided to place it down over there. I then also ended up placing down a little kitchen sink into the kitchen. There also ends up being a little kettle. There also ends up being a few different clutter decorations. Like I said, I tried to keep the clutter to somewhat of a minimum. I didn't want to go over the top, like I didn't want to overpower it. I just tried to make it feel decorated, but you know, modern, if you get my drift. But either way, as you can see, moving on, I've now moved over into the next room, which is the main bathroom, if you want to put it that way. I'm calling it the main because, like I said, there is 2.5 bathrooms in this house, but one of them is literally just a half bath, so it's just got a toilet and a sink in there. I think I like popped a plant in the corner or something. But the other bathroom upstairs has the exact same things in terms of it's still got a bathtub, a sink, a toilet, but it's just smaller. So to me, this is like the main bathroom in the house. But in here, as you can see, I tried to make somewhat of like a custom bathroom sink area. Basically what I did, I got these sinks that we got from the Island Living expansion pack and I merged them into this side table that we got from Dine Out. I have done this before, and if you're curious, it's still usable. Like, your Sims can still interact with it. I will say one thing though, if you do want to do like a similar trick with the sink and the side table, you'll notice when I do it, I try and pull the sink out quite far out of the side table, just because otherwise your Sims will freak out and they say that they can't interact with it. They can. You just need to pull out the sink a little bit from the side table and then it makes it usable. But also in this bathroom, I decided to go for the bathtub that we got from the Snowy Escape expansion pack, the toilet that we also got from that DLC, and then in the corner I ended up placing down this kind of like ladder shelving thing. Do you know what? Forget that we have this. It's really nice, but the only one thing that I don't like about it is it doesn't come in like a plain wood, a plain white and a plain black kind of colour. We have it in very like Island Living swatches, if you get what I mean, like these swatches that look like they've been almost like brushed with some sort of watercolour. It's pretty in certain builds, but I feel like if we had more solid colours of that ladder shelf, I'd use it more often. But yeah, in the bathroom as well, I ended up making it so the little bathtub area was on somewhat of a platform, just to make it feel a little bit smaller, because the bathroom is actually quite a big room. Saying that though, there isn't a shower in it, which I was debating, do I just add a shower in quickly just to, you know, have one? But then I was thinking, there is one, well actually no, there's two outside. You don't technically need a shower if you've got them ones outside, and so I did just decide to leave it. But either way, as you can see, I've now moved over and I've started coming in and decorating the first bedroom, which I was thinking, if you wanted to live here, would be like maybe your Sims' parents' room. So I'm in a little bit of like a debate with myself, because like I said, coming into building this house, I didn't try and decorate it to any sort of like family, any sort of storyline or anything. I just tried to decorate it in like a modern Mediterranean style and just try and make things that I feel like look pretty, if you want to put it that way. But where I'm building, the lot originally does have a pre-made family in the world of Sulani called the Kealoha family. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's basically this household that consists of 4 Sims. There is a couple, which I believe they're married. They've got a little daughter who's a toddler, and then there's this random teenager that is not related to them, got a different last name, not in the family tree, also lives with them. And I'm thinking, shall I include this house in my save file? And shall I make it so this house is kind of suited towards them? Because coming into doing this build, I was unsure. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to decorate the bedroom. So there is a toddler room and then there is a room that the teenager could use as well. But I'm just thinking, shall I have this in my save? I don't know, I'm in two minds. So let me know if you think I should include this house in my save file and kind of go this more modern Mediterranean style for this area of Sulani. So far in my save file in the world of Sulani, I've done one neighbourhood to be very much inspired by the Maldives, and so maybe this area could have similar builds in this kind of similar style. But yeah, I'm just in two minds. I just don't know what to do. So let me know what you think I should do. But either way, as you can see, I've now moved over into the toddler's room. I really love this toddler's room. I tried to go for like a tropical theme. I end up using these wall decals that we got from the Growing Together expansion pack, and it looks to be some sort of like tropical tree, but if you actually look really closely, there's a little sloth on them. It's just really adorable. But in this room as well, there ends up being somewhat of like a walk-in wardrobe situation for the toddler, which is actually really funny because they're like, what, 2? And they've got a walk-in wardrobe. But I just had the space for it, and I didn't want to not have a window in this room and then just place down a get-together wardrobe. And so I thought, I'll just place down a chest of drawers and make it into my own little, walk-in wardrobe. On the actual chest of drawers, I ended up placing down a few different toys. Not too many, because like I said, I didn't want to overclutter it, but I placed down a few different toys. I sized down at some sort of sculpture of a teddy bear and a palm tree. I just felt like it fitted because of Sulani. And then in the main bedroom, I ended up using a bed that we got from the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack. Perfect for a toddler room in Sulani, because if you really look closely at the end of the bed, there's some sort of like little seashells hanging off. It's just really adorable. Also ended up placing down a doll's house in this room. The one that I've used is again from Eco Lifestyle. I always use that doll's house. It's like my number one thing when it comes around to decorating kids' bedrooms. But there is also a little armchair placed next to the toddler bed. I'm thinking when you want to read to the toddler of a night time, you can kind of like sit on the armchair. And then as well, actually, I end up placing down a little tiger teddy bear, which that teddy bear, if you're curious, it's from the For Rent expansion pack, and your Sims can get it if they go to the Tiger Sanctuary. It's like an unlockable thing within the game, but I found it in the catalogue and I placed it down onto the armchair, and it just looks so cute, and it really goes to the idea that I had for like a tropical toddler's room. But yeah, I just plopped out onto the little armchair, and then also in that room there ends up being a bookcase. But either way, moving on, as you can see, I've now moved on to the upstairs portion, and now I'm decorating the third bedroom, which I was thinking if I was going to make this for my save file, this would be that random teenager's bedroom. So like I said, this teenager is not related to any of the other household members. Like, there is no family relation. They're not even like distant cousins or anything. Like, there is nothing. And also, in the little household description, doesn't say anything about it. Like, literally, who is this child? Where did they come from? And so I think if I'm going to make this for my save file, if you think it's a good idea, I might make it so there's some sort of like family relation or something. Maybe it's the household's nephew or something, or maybe it's like a close family friend and something happened to the family friend and their teenager went and moved in with their parents' friends or something like that. I don't know, it just makes no sense. Like, why at least explain it? Like, I don't get why the Sims team made this household to have this randomer. I would just like a little bit of a backstory to work with, like, what's going on, why is he here? But either way, this is his bedroom, or what could be his bedroom. So in here I decided to go for the Eco Lifestyle double bed, but then I didn't like the look of the pillows on it because it wasn't really matching with the rest of like the neutral brown creamy kind of vibe that I tried to have within this house. And so you would have seen I placed down a pillow that we got from the Modern Luxe kit as kind of like the centre cushion, and then I placed down 2 high school years debug pillows and kind of like rotated them and plopped them into the other ones, just kind of disguise the colouring. Also ends up being like a little computer desk area in this room, as well as a big wardrobe and then a chest of drawers. There's also a TV. This room is massive. I just had space for it. And then it also ends up being a little guitar in one of the corners, and then also a boxing bag. Now, you might be questioning the rugs that I placed down into the bedroom, because I placed down one that we got from Seasons, which is kind of like this animal print, and then one that we got from Island Living, and I feel like they don't match. But I feel like it's one of them things where they're just so different, it kind of works, if you get what I mean. Like, I feel like sometimes you can have things where they're just so completely different from one another and you wouldn't pick them out to think, oh yeah, they actually go together. But I feel like where they're just so completely different, they do kind of go, and so I kind of liked it. But one thing that I wanted to mention about that bedroom is the flooring, because when it actually came around to playtesting this build, where I was building with curved walls, the curved walls had a bit of a moment, and basically the wooden floor then spread out onto the upstairs like balcony area. Because it is a curved wall, when I was doing the flooring, basically underneath the flooring on the upstairs balcony, it kind of like spread onto like the terracotta tiles in the floor, and it just looked really weird. But then the only way that I could basically change it was if I made the flooring in that bedroom to be the same terracotta floor tiles that is on the upstairs balcony. And so you might notice in the screenshots, yeah, the floors changed. It's because of the curved walls. They just had a bit of a moment, and no matter what I did, like honestly, I spent about 20 minutes trying to change it, trying to raise up the platform to see if I could find a workaround or something. But yeah, I ended up having a terracotta tile in that room, but I still think it looks nice. I still think it looks really pretty. But either way, as you can see, I'm just coming in now and basically just finishing up the build. There ends up being a upstairs kind of like lounge seating area. I used some sofas that we got from the Forerun expansion pack, and then just off that we have this little separate room which I made into somewhat of like a home office situation. We have a computer desk with a computer, and then also a few different armchairs and a bookcase. But other than that, I'm going to go around the room, finish it off, and that is pretty much it. So anyway guys, I'm going to end this voiceover right here. As always, you can download this build via the gallery. My gallery ID is JessicapieYT, or you can just search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, if you do like my content, then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speedrunning video. Bye guys.